I'm talking today about two practices that I think are really important in the current climate right now. One is dry brushing, which is excellent for working with the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is really good for immunity support. And the second is Abhyanga, which is a self-love massage, an Ayurvedic technique. And this is also really good in this period of self-isolation. So first things first, you actually need to be nude for this, so I feel like this was the best that I could do. We're going to start with the dry brush. So in terms of dry brushing, I use Stas & Co because it is not only beautiful, all organic, but it has this kind of intensity to it, quite intense. Now, I'm a little greedy, I have two, you really only need one. But I'm also all about efficiency, so I use two. Now, again, this whole process is done standing up, seated, and we'll start with the feet. So even if that's the only thing you do, so Beck, who is the founder of Stas & Co, says if you only have time to do one part of your body, do the feet. And then you're working in kind of long strokes up the body. And when you get to joints, and this is for both the Abhyanga and the dry brushing, you're kind of moving in circles. And then again, so there's a long part of the body. So really nice and long strokes. Now, I get into my butt. So I won't turn around and show you that. And then I also get really into the groin region. So in terms of where the lymphatics are close to the skin, it's around the groin and also around the breasts and the underarms. So I tend to kind of do some strokes around here. It's hard to show when I'm seated. And then I work up the back, working the movement upward. And then in the belly, I do round kind of smooth strokes, but also kind of working up towards the heart. Then I move into the arms, so you can get into the hands. Long strokes, and then around the joints, circular. And then for me, it's always a really good one to do underneath the underarms. So this is where a lot of the lymph nodes are close to the surface of the skin. And then I go around the breasts. So really just kind of allow that whole movement. It's so good for breast health, especially because, I mean, so many women wear bras. And this whole region is highly constricted. And if you think about it, we're constricting the part of the body which is helping us most with our immunity. So as much as possible, I always recommend don't wear a bra. You can move downwards on the chest. I have really sensitive skin on my chest, so I don't go too hard. So remember, you're working towards the heart, and then, well, I'm kind of flexible so I can get into the middle of my back. And that's it. So the second part of this practice, which happens for me after dry brushing, is Abhyanga. So dry brushing is particularly good for those Ayurvedic body types known as kaphas, who tend to put on a lot of weight. But this can be a little bit intense for vatas, who are at the other end of the scale, who tend to be quite anxious. So if you know yourself and feel like you want to skip the dry brushing, you can. I'm quite a vata body type and I still like to use the dry brush. If those things mean nothing to you, then feel free to ignore them, but I might put some links in the notes so that you can have an understanding of Ayurveda a bit. So the next thing is Abhyanga, which is a warm oil massage. Now I use a combination of cacao butter. Oh my god, just because it smells so good. I love it. So I just buy these from a store in Melbourne called The Source, and you can buy them loose, and I just put in one little drop. I also just add normal olive oil in and a scoop of coconut oil. And I put it all into a little pot, and then I heat it up, and then I place it into a little ceramic dish. So it's really nice and warm. Now the idea of the Abhyanga is that it is all about self-love. It's really the same movements, but this time we work from the head down to the feet. So if I'm washing my hair, I'll put it in and start at the head. You can also do it all across the face and into the ears. I tend to do some work into my jaw because I'm an excellent nighttime grinder. And then I just get some of the oil and start again this time. So I'm working in my arms. I go long, in the long bits again, and then in the joints, I make circular movements. So I do that through both arms. And really you can put as much oil on your hands as you want. And if you like, you can talk really nicely to your body in this time. So I would get into my back. It's hard for me to do this with clothes on. But you can say like, I love my skin to yourself. I'm feeling beautiful in my body. It's a time for affirmation of the physical aspect of the self. Then with oil on, which I won't do now, I slide down, under and around. So it's like a very gentle breast massage, which is really good for women, really good. And getting kind of all into the underarm as well. And then into the stomach. And this kind of soothing movement around the stomach. This is like digestive area. So you don't want to be kind of going too fast up and down. Around the heart, they say that you can move up and down. And then in the back, the movements again are kind of upward movements. Oh my God, it's so nice. It is really comforting. And I think that especially for people who, you know, are potentially going into isolation and lockdown, where do you get your touch from? Or even if you just don't have a partner, you know, it's like, this is a self-love, self-care practice that is so nurturing. Like, it is incredibly nurturing. Then into the buttocks. I won't go too full on, but I do like to spend a bit of time there. And then into the legs. So the movement is generally an upwards movement towards the heart still, but we're working from the top down. And then round and in the joints. So around the ankles and into the feet. Now, a word of warning, this is a really good thing to do for the body, and it's great because all of the reflexology points are in the feet. However, you need to be really careful when it comes to not slipping in your bath. Make sure that you have towels around, and if you have one of those non-slip bath things, then it's actually really good. And then you're all super juicy and delicious. And I kind of turn the shower on at this point and then just spend a little bit of time just enjoying being covered in warm oil because I'm telling you, it feels really good. I'm a Taurus, so I'm all up for the sensual aspects of life. So I, like, while the shower is heating up, I spend a little bit more time just kind of feeling into it. It's a really kind of self-sensual expression. And then when you're in the shower with the oil on, you can use soap. I tend to only use soap on, as Nadine Artemis says, pits and privates. I don't use soap all over my body, but the water washes off all of the excess oil, interestingly. And once you're done with your shower, pat yourself dry with a towel. And throughout the day, there will be this kind of very, very light film. It's so light, it won't be on your clothes or anything if you pat yourself dry. And this is really good in terms of calming vata, calming anxiety and tension. And just having, it's almost like a protective layer of kind of soothing oil over yourself. Which is especially good at the moment, I think, with everything that we're going through. So I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial, and if you have any questions, feel free to shoot them through.